And they confirmed it. Oh yeah, dude, we're there now. We've got it surrounded, whatever it is. So it wasn't a maybe or a guess or maybe an airplane. It was some sort of craft that had come down. Now, dude, was it a satellite? Couldn't tell you that.
How fucking crazy does it have to be if you traveled all the way here from another universe and you fucking crash your vehicle?
Well, I mean, that was, and listen, it's funny you say that because I was the same way. There was talk of what actually brought down the Roswell during that crash, and somebody said it was actually new radar they were using, and actually brought it down. There's some now people today that are saying that's not true. What they did was they believed that every part of the world was given a piece of equipment to see how fast they could take it apart and figure out what's making this thing really work. This way, if it's the aliens that are running the show, they'll really find out who the smart people are real quick. So you figure out, okay, these people are smart, these people aren't smart. Do we get rid of them now? Do we start a pandemic? Do we kill off this group right here? Do we, the Black Plague, there was some discussions with regard to the Black Plague being blood type specific.
Was it blood type specific?
Well, that was the question. And they said because
there has to have been studies
it didn't
on that.
kill, well, nobody knew blood types back then.
Okay.
They didn't know there was an A, B, and O, and so they would, they weren't transfusing blood.
I don't even know when that was.
But yeah, at what point? I'm sure can't even remember myself when it came back. I want to say it was in the 1910, 1912, and they started to realize there was some differences in the blood.
Can you pull up like Black Plague Wikipedia? Yeah, that'd be.
Well, and so they started saying, so how come it didn't kill everybody? Why? And he goes, the guy that came up with it goes, if you think a flea was jumping off rats and giving people the Black Plague, he goes, there was something else bigger going on. And whether these people weren't, hey, we figured out all this new, this X-type blood that we're getting, these people aren't very smart. Let's just eliminate them and we'll make a disease that's specific to that. Because what's interesting even with COVID, I've heard people say, oh, if you have type A.
Well, that was in the beginning, right? They were talking about that.
Type A blood.
Certain type of blood types, you get fucked up by it, and certain types you're asymptomatic.
You don't. So
they stopped talking about that though, like in March of last year.
Right. I mean, so is it the people now too that I find interesting that are getting sick after they've had their shots? They go, oh, it's the COVID. I'm like, well, how do you know it wasn't the shot?
Let's go back to Bope and Gara, and then when that thing crashed. Oh, the Black Death. Does it say? From 1346, it was occurring in Eurasia, from 1934 or from 1346 to 1353. The most fatal pandemic recorded in human history, causing deaths of 75 to 200 million people in Eurasia and North Africa.
Why didn't it wipe out everybody?
That's a lot of fucking people. 200 million.
I didn't even think there was that many people on the planet.
All in like Western Europe and Asia and in the top of North Africa.
Yeah, because I don't think we weren't really here.
Yeah, 1346 to 1353.
So did everybody start using PPE?
7 years.
Did everybody start using PPE back then, and all of a sudden it went away?
Well, 200 million people.
But where'd it go? How does it just go away? How did it wipe out everybody? Because back then, dude, you weren't taking baths. There was no hygiene.
I mean, how many people could there have possibly been in 1343?
Well, I certainly didn't think 200 million.
Killed 200 million. There's what, 300 million in the U.S., something like that?
Oh, yeah, right now it's exactly. I think we're a little over that, but yeah, you're damn right. So that in itself, it's a weird number.
200 million seems like everybody in 1300s
would have been dead. So again, so is that specific? Are they trying to wipe certain groups out? Nobody can tell us why, though. I want to know why. Again, are we just a bug here that's producing carbon dioxide for the planet? Is there a bigger picture for us? I mean, we're so interested in killing each other and doing harm to each other. And again, I don't know if that's part of the bigger plan.
Isn't that crazy, though? Carbon dioxide, all the carbon dioxide is supposed to be so bad, but it's really giving life to all the trees and plants and
the tree is
all the vegetation.
Dude, the tree is the most important element on the planet. It absolutely does everything we need to do. You can build with it, and it can keep you warm. And there's not another product on the planet that does that for you. I mean, other than some brush and whatnot. But if you're truly looking at trees for what they are, if you look at the onslaught of trees throughout, especially through South America, they're clear cutting the forest down. So now, are these aliens, these visitors, are they watching that? You know, is that why Brazil all of a sudden has this onslaught of craft? You guys,
whoa! Now you're connecting some serious dots here.
you see what I'm saying? So you're damaging the planet. Well, we're not going to let you damage the planet. The same thing with, you know, when we talked about Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, and that incident that took place with the UFO crash there.
Yeah, that's what we talked about in the last podcast you came in on. Yeah,
and they found more and more information out. Now there's more information on YouTube that's about it. They were able to move the vehicle though after it crashed. There's nothing there now, but there was definitely something that crashed there. Brazil has a long history with UFOs and extraterrestrials.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of things on TV and a lot of things on the internet about UFOs and like aliens and stuff in Brazil.
Which is crazy because, you know, at the end of the day, I don't think about them being there. But, you know, when you talk to, they would go over and they would interview some of these people and talk about their experiences. You know, it's one thing to sit there and make up a story. It's another thing to, while you're telling a story, to be absolutely terrified out of your mind. And in my eyes, looking at some of the folks that are telling the stories, it just doesn't seem like they're lying. It doesn't seem like it's a fake story. And then, like I say, when you take into consideration different politicians that are getting involved now, for me, again, was more interesting. I told you when we went through this thing to figure out what had crashed in Brazil, I've got some friends of mine here that are former police officers from there who deal with a group called BOPE.
Oh, yeah.
And they're the guys that actually confirmed it for us. So it wasn't a, you know, sort of, hey, we think we've got something crashed here. They confirmed it. Hey, no, we got a crashed vehicle here, dude. And it's not from any place we know. And, oh, by the way, America's here also helping us out. So,
and this, who was the dude from BOPE who you talked to?
This is a group here in Florida. I'm a little adamant to even bring the guy's name up. One of the guys was one of my little CIA buddies I was telling you about earlier.
Okay.
They moved here to this country about 5 years ago after they retired. And the reason they did that.
From Brazil?
From Brazil.
Okay.
I mean, I think before they moved here, one of the guys had killed 11 people in his neighborhood.
Jesus.
So when they came here, we do a thing every year called Sniper Craft here, and they came down and would participate. They always took first place. Guys were very accomplished shooters across the board.
Sniper competition?
It was a sniper competition called Sniper Craft here in Central Florida. And they would come down every year for that. So I got to know these guys really, really well. These aren't UFO guys. These are all kind of meat eater, knuckle draggers.
Knuckle dragger, meatheads.
Yeah, dude, they're special
Shooters.
operations. Yeah, completely. Matter of fact, they initially, when they won here, they won the event. The State Department, because he had killed 11 people, wanted more information on him, thinking maybe he's a terrorist or coming from some sort of other background other than a law enforcement background.
What is he like? Does he tell everybody he killed 11 people, or is that like a
no, I mean, it's just a reality of what it is. His wife, when I went over there, his wife was actually wearing a gun as she was vacuuming the house. And I kind of made a joke like, hey, what's that all about? And she goes,
how did he get away with killing 11 people, by the way?
Well, I mean, first of all, he's a police officer.
Okay.
There are no civil rights in Brazil.
Right.
So they give you an order, and if you don't pay attention, they shoot you instantly.
So he's a police officer in Brazil. So every person he killed was documented somehow.
Oh yeah,
it's not just him being like, "Yo, bro."
No. It's documented. It's in the middle of his job. Yeah,
okay,
what's going on?
Right,
absolutely. No, he's not, like I say, just out killing people.
He's not just bragging about it.
Bingo. And these are numbers that are necessary for us to know, because when he comes into the U.S., the State Department wants to know, who are you? Okay, why are you here? Because I can promise you, if the State Department gets in touch with Brazil and the authorities there, and they said, hey, we'd like to look at his record, and they went back and said, hey, you killed 31 people in the last 6 years. Why didn't you tell us that? So he just comes here and immediately volunteers that information, because they're going to find that out, and they're going to start asking questions as to why you didn't. So to get a green card here was tough for these guys because of that. They did extensive background on there's 6 of them that came here. They were afraid they were going to get killed in Brazil if they stayed there. That's how bad it is. Just because of all of the trouble. I mean, it's not your normal white collar type, gangs that are marauding around. He always had to worry about his wife getting killed.
Being a cop in Brazil is very
correct.
dangerous.
And these guys just aren't cops. The name of the group they're with is called GARA. They're actually a real high-end SWAT guys. BOPE are above them. They're more like special operations guys.
Okay.
So they are not liked. They when GARA shows up, bad things are about to go left real quick.
Okay.
So when I called those guys, because when I first heard this rumor that this crash had happened in Rio de Janeiro, I called one of my guys that was a retired captain out there. He didn't even know about it. He's like, no, I don't know. Dude, what? What are you talking about? I said, nothing. So when I called the other guys, and they actually called BOPE, and I was told that BOPE was the one that was actually had the perimeter secure, making sure that nobody else was allowed to get near it. And they confirmed it. Oh yeah, dude, we're there now. We've got it surrounded, whatever it is.
What's up, world? You just watched a clip from one of our exclusive Patreon episodes. That's right, you can get weekly, pure, uncut content straight from the jungles of Colombia. If you want to watch the full episode, make sure you go to patreon.com/concretevideos. Peace.